All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. Appreciate you guys checking in and watching the videos. Uh, I got a new one for you today. And for some, it might be a little I don't know if you can say controversial, but there'll be a lot of people that don't agree. Which I mean, I don't give a shit. I don't care what you agree with, what you don't agree with, what you agree with, what you don't agree with. Uh, I do things that were better for my life, not what's better for yours. Um, so, anyways, it's about about the gang life, and is it possible to get out of that, to get out of that life completely? I guess the answer is it depends on who you are, um, what you've done for your neighborhood, if you're well known, or if you're just a number in the neighborhood, if you're liked or disliked. But for me, getting out, it was possible for me to get out. I'm the only person that I know that has gotten out of a gang, that's gotten out of a neighborhood, and just it was just walked away, a little bit bruised, but it's no big deal. But the reason why it happened is the reason why this is what this video is about. So if you've been watching my videos, you know that I got busted back in '90 and I got out in '92. I got 8 years in the youth authority. I um, I was with three other guys and they all gave me up. But I gotta make something clear about that, which really doesn't matter. If you're from the streets, it really doesn't matter. It's the same. It's the same thing. If you do it this way or you do it this way, it's the same thing. The guys that gave me up that I was with never went to court against me because I never gave them the opportunity to do that. When I went to court and I found out all the information that that three of the four victims identified me in a paper lineup. They had my gun. They had my clothes. The three guys I was with also identified me in the paper lineup as the shooter. And that's exactly what the paperwork said. It said his the defendant's companions all identified him as the shooter. Um, when that happened, I said, "Fuck it, let me just do my time. Let me plead guilty now because they were going to try to charge me as an adult if I didn't." And like I said, it didn't. These guys didn't even have to. Them three guys didn't even have to uh, point me out. If they would have kept their mouth shut, it really would have mattered. I would still got the same thing. The nails were already in the coffin. These three guys were just three extra nails just in case, but the nails were already in the coffin. I was done. There was no getting out of the situation at all because they had all. It was like almost getting caught red-handed. There was nothing that I could do. But they gave statements to the police, and that's all that you need. That's all that you need to be considered a snitch, to be considered a rat, to be considered no good. I had the paperwork for that. I mean, it's been years. I don't have that paperwork no more, but I'm pretty sure it can be found. Um, but I had all my paperwork, and I kept it with me, even when I was in the youth authority. I just showed dudes that was from my area, like check it out, and they like, damn, yeah, your homeboy, because one of them was my homeboy, the others weren't. It was like, damn, your homeboy gave you up, but yeah, check it out, here's the paperwork. Even one of my other homeboys from my neighborhood socked him up on the streets a few months after I got sent up north when he ran into him because he knew what was going on and he knew about the paperwork and all that. But like I said, they never went to court against me because I said fuck it, let me go ahead and just plead guilty now, get tried as a juvenile, start doing my time. They can't keep me past 25 years old. If I don't do that, I'm going to be here for a long time. So, that's what I did. And so I went off and I did my time. And then I come home in the end of 92. And at the beginning of 93 is when all this other shit was going on in LA or in Southern California, where the rules changed. And we weren't allowed to do the things we were doing before on the streets anymore. If you had something that you needed to take care of, you needed to ask to be able to do that kind of stuff. You couldn't just do it anymore. So during that time, I was talking to one of my homeboys that was from my generation, and he knew this other individual. He knew the other individual. He saw the paperwork, and he says, "Well, I handled it. You know what I mean? I support that. Handle that shit. But you can't just do things like that right now. You gotta ask to do it." And I said, "Okay, well, I need to find out who I need to talk to so I can take care of this." And he says, "Well, it's your family member." And I say, I knew who he was talking about. He said, "He's the one that's taking care of things out here. He's the one that, you got to talk to him." And I didn't, at the time, I didn't even know that family member was out. I didn't know he was out. So I already told him, I said, "I didn't even know he was out." He's like, "Yeah, he's out." So I said, "Okay." When I run into him, see him at one of the family's houses, I'll talk to him. I don't know how long it was after that, but I was at my tia's house, and this tia is from my mom's side of the family. That other family member was from my father's side of the family, which both families intermingled. They all knew each other. They were all pretty much from the same neighborhood. He wasn't. He was from another neighborhood over in Torrance. But most of the family was from Redondo. So, but like I said, my mother's side of the family, my father's side of the family, they all intermingled with each other. I even have cousins that it kind of sounds like incest, but I have cousins that are my cousins from my mom's side, and they're also my cousins on my dad's side. You know what I mean? Like, this guy is my cousin because of my aunt, my dad's sister, but he's also my cousin because of my mom's cousin. You see, like my dad's sister had a kid with my mom's cousin, so their kid is my second cousin on my mom's side, but he's my first cousin on my dad's side. And I have a few family members like that, where my dad's family and my mom's family, they came together, and then they had kids and got married and shit like that. So I have family members like that. So anyways, the family was really big. It was a really big family, and so I was at my tia's house over in Redondo, and just hanging out there, and somebody knocks on the door, and my aunt opens the door, and she's like, "Oh my God, how you doing?" And this other family member comes in, and I'm like The fuck's he doing over here? Like, I was just talking about him not so long ago, a couple weeks ago, but or whatever, however long it was. I'm like, just talking about this dude. What's he doing over here? And so he's like, telling my aunt like, hey, how you doing? And she's like, well, I didn't know you were out. And they were talking for him. I got up and I went over there. He's like, hey, Primo, what's up, man? And I was like, hey, what's going on? So what are you doing over here? He said, I heard you were over here. Uh, came to check on you. Came to see how you're doing. I heard that you got out. And I said, yeah, I've been out for a couple of months now. I said, all right, I just wanted to see how you're doing, check on you. He goes, so they were talking for a minute. And he's like, hey, I was told that you wanted to talk to me. So I told him, yeah, I do. Said, all right, let's go outside. So we go outside and we're standing by the car. And I just tell him, I said, hey, because he's like, hey, what's going on? And I said, I ran it all down to him. Same thing I just said to you guys. I told him, like, hey, this is what happened. I don't have the paperwork right now. I wasn't expecting to see it right now, but I don't have it with me right now. But I have it. You know what I mean? So, and I was told that I had to talk to you about these. He's like, all right, go ahead. Tell what you do, whatever you need to do, do whatever it is you need to do. It's okay. I said, I'll get you the paperwork for it. I said, don't worry about it. I know you ain't bullshit. I know you wouldn't be lying to me and shit. Don't worry about it. If anybody asks, you know, it's okay. If anybody asks, give my name. Okay. So we talked for a minute. That was that. He left. So I'm like, I'm not gonna go hunting this dude down. I'm always in the neighborhood. I'm always in my neighborhood every day. So I figure he's gonna come around eventually. So I'm gonna catch him eventually. I'm not gonna go looking for him. So a few months later, I know it's still in '93. Fucking clock. 12 rings. 12 o'clock. Oh, there it is. And so he hasn't been around. I don't know if he was busted or what, but he has not been around. Nobody has seen him. So I don't know if he was busted or if he just, you know, just took off somewhere else and wasn't coming around anymore. But I know it was still '93 because my kid's mother was pregnant at the time. My first daughter's mom. Because one day we were just I don't know what we were doing, but I told her, hey, I'm gonna go to the neighborhood. I gotta go to the neighborhood and see what's going on out there. So stop that. I go, I gotta go. I'm gonna go to the neighborhood and see what's going on. So she was in the car with me. So we shot through the neighborhood. My neighborhood. I was just driving around. Went by the park to see if anybody was there. Didn't see nobody out there. Went by a couple other houses. I don't see nobody there. I'm just cruising around. And so before I go home, I said, you know what, fuck it. I'm gonna stop over here on 163rd in Prairie, where there's another house of a dude that wasn't from my neighborhood. He was from another neighborhood. He lived there, and a lot of people used to hang out right there, including my homeboys. I used to hang out there. One of my homeboys lived next door to him. So hold on. No, get in here. You get in here. Go, Lexi. So I stopped over there. I drove over there, and as I pulled up, I see a lot of guys standing out there in the in the yard. And so I pull up on the street and I roll the window down, and a few of my homeboys see me and they come to the car. Now these guys, they all got into the neighborhood when I was gone. I didn't know them as well as I knew the dudes that I was running around with. So they were young. They were younger than me. I was at the time 18. Mm, I was 18 or 19. They were like 15, 16, 17. So they come to the car, and one of them, the main one that was right there, they have there's a little video of him on YouTube. I'm not gonna say who he is. I think he died. I think he died in prison of cancer. Uh, he was a white boy. He was a white boy that he had a lot of balls, man. I always kept that dude around me because he was with it. Out of all the dudes that I knew when I came home, um, he was he was the one that was really with it. Maybe because he was white and he had a lot to prove, but he proved himself a lot even after that down the line. He became well known for the shit that he was out there doing. I think he ended up catching a life sentence, but anyways, he was right there. He comes up to the car with a couple other guys, and he's like, "Hey, homie, what's up? Like, what are you doing?" And I said, "No, I'm just coming through to check on everything, see what's going on out here. Is everything good or what?" He's like, "Yeah, man, we're just over here hanging out, drinking some beers." And it's all right. Yeah, I'm just, just stopping through. I'm gonna head home right now. And so he pulls out I think it was yeah, it was a revolver. Pulls out a revolver, and he's like, "Check this new strap that I got. Check it out." So I get it from him, looking at it, and I was like, "Yeah, it's nice." I think it was like a 9-shot 22 revolver, and actually it was because I think I ended up using that thing later on, about a week later. I had something that I disguised as bullshit. I ended up using that gun from him, but anyways, it was a 9-shot revolver. And so I'm looking at it, and just we're talking. They're standing right here, and I'm just checking it out, and as I'm talking to him, I can see between them. I can see past them. All these other guys are standing in the grass. They're all talking, and I notice one guy that's standing right there by the porch, and I tell them, I say, "Hey, move out of the way." So they step to the side a little bit, and I'm looking in, and I said, "Is that so and so?" And they're like, "Nah, nah, nah." I said, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, yeah, that's him. The fuck's going on with him? What's he doing over here? What's going on? Why are you guys over here hanging out with this dude? You already know what's going on." "Nah, that's not him." I said, "I'm not fucking stupid. I can see him standing right there. Like he doesn't notice me in the car because they're blocking the view. They're blocking the view. So I'm just like, and he never came over. All the other guys never came to the car. They were all just talking. And so I said, "Get the fuck away from the door." And I pull the hammer back on the gun, and I go to get out, and they hold two of them, him and another guy holding the door. And I said, "What are you doing? Get the fuck out of the way." And they're like, "Hey, you can't do that right here. You can't do that in front of homeboy's house. His mom's in the house. You can't do that right here." I said, "I don't give a fuck who's out here. Get the fuck away from the door." And they're like, "Hey, check it out, man. He fucked up. He fucked up, man, but he is a good homie, man. He fucked up. But he was young, man. You know, let's work it out." I said, "What the fuck you mean, let's work it out?" They said, "Yeah, let's work it out. Can you give him a pass?" I said, "I didn't get a pass when I had to go do my time." I said, "I'm not giving him no fucking pass. No." He's like, "Come on, homie. Like, he's a good dude, man. He's a good homeboy." I said, "That's what you consider a good homeboy? That gives you up when they start handing out time, motherfuckers give you up. That's a good homie because he's young. That's the excuse you're gonna use for this guy." And they're like, just give him a pass, man. Just give him a pass. I said, you want me to give him a pass? I was like, we're asking you. And so I put the hammer back on the gun, and I just restarted. I said, here. Because I had cracked the door a little bit. I pulled it. I said, I'm gone. And right then and there, when I was driving away, I knew that I was pretty much done with these dudes. You know, that's not the way that I was raised. Um, I had noticed though when I came home how things were changing. You know, I only been gone for a little over 2 years, but things had changed. Um, People gave a fuck more about dope. A lot of guys got hooked on meth at that time, and that's all they really gave a fuck about. The respect and all that shit was just it was that's when it started to really like deteriorate. They only cared about doing dope and getting high or selling dope. But the dudes that are selling dope were also doing the dope. You know, I remember one of my homeboys that was my age when I had came home because when I came home, everything in my whole family had just completely fell apart. It was already shit before I left, but it really took a dump while I was gone. You know, I came home and I found out that my mom had been on drugs while I was gone. Not the whole time, I don't think, but during the time she got hooked on dope, and um, my mother wasn't like that before I had left. I grew up. My mom was a housewife. My mom wasn't into drugs and shit like that. She hardly ever drank. Now I come home and I find out that my mom had been on drugs. I found out because she told me. She told me that she was on meth and that she got off because she knew I was coming home. So one of my homeboys had told me one day he pulled me to the side and he says, "Hey, check it out, man. I want to let you know before you find out from anybody else. Um, well, while you were gone, there was times where your mom came to me and I did sell dope to her. She's on that shit. So he goes, and I just want to let you know before you find out from anybody else that yeah, there was times that I did sell dope to your mom. And what can I say? My mom was a drug addict. You know what I mean? I can't blame everybody else for the decisions that my mom made, even though it bothered me that my own homeboy would do that instead of saying, "No, I'm not selling you dope. Go fucking buy dope somewhere else." He didn't say that. He sold it to her. But again, like I said, what do I do? Kill the guy? It doesn't do me any good. It doesn't do me any good to fucking do something like that and end up getting busted and go to jail because something that my mom had did. So I still that whatever I just let it go. But like I said, I just looked at it as like things are changing. That before you wouldn't do shit like that. The respect and all that shit was starting to fall, and these dudes weren't really the same as the way that I grew up. And so that's when I said, I'm especially because it's rat shit. The being a snitch and can you just give him a pass? He's young, he fucked up. No, that's not the way it works. So I ended up leaving a couple months later, whatever. I ended up leaving, going back to Fresno, and I already told the story about leaving up to Fresno for the second time when I was on parole. I went out there to try to get out parole to get away from everything. Um, but when I came back in '95. I came back and I was in Riverside, and I remember me and my dad one night were hanging out in the garage. We were drinking. We used to do that every weekend, man. We used to go buy like 2 cases of Coronas and them little packets of salt, lemon salt. and we would get fucked up in the garage. We just sit there drinking Coronas, playing dominoes or um, playing chess. We had the garage door open, music playing, and me and he was sitting there. And most of the time we were in there playing dominoes and just hanging out, drinking Coronas. And one night we were there hanging out. It was probably like about 1 o'clock in the morning. And I told him, I said, hey, you know what, Pop? I want to get out of the neighborhood, man. I don't want to be associated with these fucking guys anymore. That shit, it just bothered me. It bothered me from the fucking time that I got snitched on. From 1990. That shit, it being locked up, that shit bothered me. Coming home, it bothered me. Seeing the fucking guy again and them saying, hey, can you give him a pass? You know, he fucked up. Bothered me. You know, so in all this time, that shit it was in my head. It just bothered me. Like, like, fuck. It's not the way that things were supposed to be, you know what I mean? I start to see like what a couple of my family members used to tell me when I was younger, when they say, guys gonna fucking snitch on you, man. You know, you think that you're homeboys, but they're not. When you get locked up, nobody's gonna give a fuck that you get locked up. They're all gonna forget about you. And I was stupid, and I used to say, no, my homeboys will be there for me. And he was right. I mean, it's like that for all of us. We all know that story. We all know that story. Now that I'm older, I can understand more of like, yeah, well, the same thing with the cancer. Everybody was here from the very beginning. Now they all faded away. Every once in a while, I'll get a fucking text or a phone call, you know what I mean, from people. Hey, how you doing? Or a message on Instagram. I get more messages on Instagram from strangers, people out of state. I get from Hawaii, Australia, out of the country and out of the state of California, people I do not know, than I do my own fucking friends. I get hit up by the strangers constantly, but it's the same old shit. But I understand though, because people's lives got to go on. People got to do what they do and keep on living. They can't be worried about me all the time. Same thing when you get locked up. You expect people to do this and do that. You say that you would do this and do that, but you don't. I got family members that are locked up. I've not written to them once. I got family members locked up. I've never sent money to them once. I got family members that are locked up that if they called me collect, I wouldn't answer the fucking call because I'm like, we really ain't talking like 20 fucking years and fucking take your phone call for. But give me a second. Sorry, my dog wants to go in and out. Leave her alone. So I understand that. I understand that part of it. It doesn't work that way. People do not have the time to take and make write letters to you every single week. Take your phone calls and pay them big ass phone bills. Send you money constantly because they have their own bills to pay and shit. So I understand that. But he was right. When I got locked up, only one of my homeboys out of all my homeboys ever wrote to me. He's the only one that ever sent me $20. He sent me one time, which it was I appreciated that he sent it to me $20 in the early '90s, but still, I got a good amount of canteen that one time because of that, and so he wrote me I think he wrote me a couple times, he never came to see me. None of my homeboys came to see me. Not in juvenile hall, not in SRCC, not up north, never. I didn't see nobody until I got home. But then again, neither did my family. My father came to see me twice, once in juvenile hall and once in SRCC. I never saw him up when I was up north. My mother came up north to see me one time, and that was that. But this all these years that were going by it was kept playing in my head like this is not the way it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? And so it bothered me, man. It really fucking bothered me. So and I felt like I didn't want to be associated with people like that no more. Now, what I want to say is It's not the whole neighborhood. It's not the whole neighborhood. There's some good dudes out there, man. You know what I mean? From the neighborhood. It's not every neighborhood has dudes that are punks. Uh, they're just numbers to the neighborhood. They're not really with that shit. They're just gang members. That's all they are. But it just bothered me that I was asked to give this guy a pass, and I just couldn't do that. And so I just felt like I don't want to be associated with these fucking guys anymore. Everything is changing. Nobody has loyalty no more. Nobody has the same respect that we had, the way we showed respect and all that. So I told him that night, I said, I want to get out of my neighborhood. I don't want to be involved with these fucking guys no more. Uh, and that's it. And he's like, well, when do you want to do that? He's like, okay, because my dad's not from my neighborhood. My dad's from my enemy's neighborhood. But my dad's was well known in the harbor. So my older homeboys were friends with him. Even though the neighbors were enemies, they were all friends with him. So he's like, well, when do you want to do it? I said, right now. And he's like, you want to go right now? And I'm like, yeah, I want to go right now. He said, well, I'll go with you. I'll go with you, and we'll go down and see what's going on, Because I was going to go by myself. I wasn't planning on him going with me. And so he's like, I'll go with you. That's all right. So we closed the garage door and turn off the radio, go in the house, and I go get my flannel. And like I said, we at the time we lived in Riverside, so we had like a good 40-minute drive, 40-minute drive back to the harbor. And his wife's there, and he tells his wife, "Hey, we'll be back." Like I said, it's maybe like 1 a.m. already. He tells his wife, "We'll be back," and she says, "She's like, where you go?" No. She's like, where you going? And he says, he wants to get out of his neighborhood. And she's like, what? And so she's like, you're taking him to do that? And he's like, well, yeah, I'd rather be there with him than him be by himself. And she's like, she looks at me and she's like, are you sure you want to do that? And I'm like, yeah. And I want to do that. I go, I just don't feel right just saying, hey, you know what? I'm like just walking away. Because a lot of guys do that. They don't want to be involved anymore. They just walk away. And they go on with their lives, and they move away somewheres, and they just become forgotten about. But for me, it was like I didn't want to do it that way. I wanted to get out completely. I didn't want to be associated with them no more. For that. So she's like, well, it can happen, right? I said, yeah, I know. But this is what I want to do. So she's like still like looking at my dad like, you really want to take him out there? But my dad's like, come on, let's go. So we get in the car and we take off. We leave. And I can't remember if we really talked much during the drive out there, but we get out there and no, and we go to one of my homeboys' house. That's he's older than me. He's younger than my father, but he's old. He's older than me. That guy's older brother is my dad's. He's from my dad's neighborhood. So my dad knew this guy when he was young. When he was really young. So I guess I let's go by his house, see who's over there. So we go over there. And we walk down this driveway, and he's back there in the backyard by the garage with another guy. And they're like surprised to see us, like, hey, what's up? Like, what are you guys up to? What are you guys doing out here? They hadn't seen me in a while. It's been a while. I left back in 90, 93. Now it's 95. So they see me in a couple years. It's like, hey, where you been at, And so I say, I took off for a while, but I'm back down over here in Riverside right now. All right, what's going on? So, like, what's going on? And so then he's like, so what's going on? What are you doing out here so late? And I said, hey, I came down here because I want to get out of the neighborhood. And he's like, steps back. He's like, what? Like, why? And I told him, I ran down to him real quick, and I said, so, you know, I don't want to have nothing to do with you guys no more. That's that. He's like, are you sure about that? And I said, yeah, I'm sure. That's why I'm here. My dad tells him, yeah, that's why he came down here. He came down here. He came down here, manned up. He's right here. You guys do what you guys got to do. Whatever it is you guys got to do, you guys handle it. So he's like, all right, hold on. I'll be right back. So he walks up the driveway. He takes off. He makes a left out the driveway. He's gone. And this is over off of Inglewood Avenue in, I don't know, maybe 162nd Street or some shit over there, 161st Street in Inglewood Avenue by the railroad tracks. So he takes off. Stop there. He takes off, and I'm standing there back there, me, my dad, and this other guy. I can't remember who the other guy was. He was an older guy, though. He was like my dad's age. He's somebody that my dad knew. So they were talking. And to say that I wasn't nervous about what was going to happen, I would be lying to say if I wasn't nervous, Scared? No, but I was nervous about what was going to happen. Because you don't know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? Like I said, it depends on them. Not me. It depends on them, what they want to do. You know what I mean? Everything's left in their hands, the decisions that they make. So we're standing back there, maybe 10 minutes goes by, and my dad's like, fuck, where's this guy at? He's like, hey, walk up to the front and see if you see him out there. He says, nah, I'm not gonna, we're not gonna just stand out here wait, we'll just take off, come back another time, you know what I mean? So I walk up to the street and I'm looking around, and I don't see nothing. I look both ways down the street, I don't see nothing. Like, I look toward the tracks, and like, I don't know where he went. And then I walked back to the back, and I said, there's nobody out there. So my dad and the other dude's like, come on, man, let's walk up to the front, see what the hell's going on. So we walk back up to the front, and as we get out there, look over to the railroad tracks, and that's when I seen everybody coming from that area. I'd say it was between 10 and 15 people. A couple of them were girls, but the rest were all dudes. And they're walking to her like, fuck. Like he went somewhere to another house, and there was a bunch of dudes over there. So, and it was like a Saturday night too. So, everybody's out and about. So I'm like, I see all these guys coming up from up the street. I'm like, fuck. So then I tell my dad, give me the keys to the car, so I'm gonna put my shit in there. So I had a ring, and I took my shirts off, and took my wallet out. Anything that I need, I put in the center console of the car. Any of my stuff, I put in the center console of the car, and I went back to my dad, gave the KSA. If anything happens, my shit's in the center console, my wallet, my ring, it's all there in the center console. It was all right. So then they all come up, and he had already told them, I guess, because they kind of like, it wasn't all like hugs and kisses. Like, they didn't see me in a couple of years. You think they would come and like to embrace you? No. It was like, hey, what's going on? And I'm like, what's up? And they're like, hey, he said that you want to get out of the neighborhood. I said, yeah. And they're like, you sure about that? And I said, yeah, well, I'm here. Yeah, I'm sure about that. They're like, all right, that's what you want. Let's go. So we walked back to the railroad tracks. And it wasn't all of them. It was probably like about 8 or 9, maybe 10. 8, 9, 10 guys got around me. Like, I was standing in the dirt, and they all surrounded me. And my dad tells him, he says, hey, do whatever it is that you guys got to do. I'm just here because he's my son. But whatever it is you guys got to do, handle it. Don't stop until you guys are done. Until you guys are satisfied, do not stop. I'm just here because he's my son, and I didn't want him to be here by himself. But I'm not involved. This is your guys' neighborhood. This is your guys' thing. So you guys take care of it. But he came down here to handle it, so you guys handle it. So he said he's telling them, you guys, because he's older. Even though he's their enemy, they gotta respect him. They're afraid of him anyway. You know what I mean? But they respect him. You know what I mean? Like he's talking to them like do what you gotta do. And he's like, so you guys understand what I'm saying? Like handle your business. And they're like, all right. So he said, go ahead. And boom, they take off. So yeah, of course I'm getting the shit kicked out of me. There's like between 8 and 10 guys. But I don't fall because I know not to fucking fall, not to fall to the floor because they're just gonna stomp me out if I fall to the floor. So I gotta try to stand up as much as I possibly can. I don't know how long went by. I'm just getting hit from all over the fucking place. And then it stops. And then, everybody's, breathing heavily and shit, And I'm standing there and I'm breathing heavy. And then my dad says, that's it? That's it? You guys are done? And he goes, look, I already told you guys. Whatever it is you guys got to do it. Handle it. But don't stop. If you're not done, don't stop. Keep going. Whatever it is, until you're satisfied. So, boom, they go, here they come again. This time, I'm like, fuck, man, like, I'm just worn the fuck out, so as soon as they get close, I grab the first guy I can get, and I take him to the ground, and I have him, like, on the ground, and I'm hitting him as they're hitting me, and they're just kicking me and stomping on my back and my head and all kinds of shit. But for some reason, they're not able to get good punches to my face. They're more stomping on my head and kicking me in the side and the back and all that shit, And I don't know I can't tell you how long that lasted. Then they get up, maybe they stop, they back away from me. I get up, the other guy gets up, and my dad says, that's it? You guys are done? And if not, continue do what you gotta do. And they're like, nah, we're done. And he said, you guys sure about that? Because I don't want to hear nothing later on that, you guys are talking shit, saying this and this and that. You have the opportunity right now to do whatever it is you want to do to him. So, do what you got to do. They said, nah, it's okay, we're done. All right. All right, Dad, let's go. So then we start walking away. And we get to the car. And once we get, from the tracks to the car was at, it was probably like six houses or some shit. They're still over by the tracks. We get to the car. Next thing you know, you hear people talking shit and fuck you and all that. You weren't saying that shit when I was right there. And somebody threw a bottle. It. Right then and there, I just knew, like, these motherfuckers, you know what I mean? Like, these ones, not the motherfuckers that I knew, that I grew up with. These ones. You could have did what you had to do right then and there. But you didn't. Then you wait till I get to the car and you want to throw bottles and start telling me fuck you, and we catch you out here again, we're gonna kill you and all this and that shit. And believe me, I've been back over there. Since then, I've been back over there. You ain't killing. They weren't killing shit. And like I said, it's not the motherfucking dudes that I know. Because, even after all this shit, I got dudes that were My generation, and there's a couple that are from that generation, but I got the ones from my generation that still talk to me. You know what I mean? They'll still hit me up on Facebook and shit like that, and they still like they even say like, I know that what you did what you did, that was okay with me. I understand. I understand it. It was wrong for what happened back then. But in my eyes, they're like, in my eyes, you're always gonna be my homeboy. No matter what. You don't have to be in the neighborhood. We know what's up. You know what I mean? And we know why you did what you did. You know what I mean? But these guys, they're my age. You know what I mean? And like I said, there's a couple other ones that I know that are those guys' ages that were there that day. They still talk to me. You know what I mean? I see them every once in a while, and we're still cool. You know what I mean? I'm just not from their neighborhood. You know what I mean? I just chose to take myself out of the fucking whole equation of that. You know what I mean? I didn't want to be associated with that. And the thing that's funny about that is that that same guy that caused this whole issue, he's still from the neighborhood. After all that shit, he's still from the neighborhood. Is it disappointing? I really don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Because I'm not from there no more. You know what I mean? I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to worry about that kind of reputation. You know what I mean? They have to deal with that kind of shit. But then again, so much things have changed. So many things have changed over the years. Uh, that I don't even see this generation of kids that are doing that are into the gang thing. To me, they're not even really gang members. They're just fucking weird to me. You know what I mean? This is I see how these people act nowadays, and I'm like, man, I'm not from here. You know what I mean? This is a whole it's like a whole different planet when it comes to that kind of shit. They dress funny, they talk funny, they talk like they're black. And for people to say, well, how do you? Because black people say, well, how do you talk black? Well, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. Don't play stupid. When I hate when people say that, especially when blacks say, how do you talk black? You know what I'm talking about. It's the same way that fucking Dave Chappelle puts on white face and he talks like a white newscaster, and it's funny to you guys. You guys call it white face. When they do it to you, call it black face, all that stupid shit. When he talks like that, you know what he's talking like. He's white. So there is a way to talk black. There is a way to look, we'll say, urban. These guys wear their pants fucking sagging, showing their ass, got these fucked up haircuts. They the way the way they talk. They use the N-word freely. Like it's no big deal. These motherfuckers are from a whole different planet. They don't come from where I come from. You know what I mean? So, uh, so much has changed. So I don't see them really as I haven't seen like real like as far as youngsters go. I have not seen real gangsters in a very long time. You know what I mean? I don't see guys that are like what I was. It's very, very, very rare to see that. I don't know what it's like right now out in LA and South Central and all that shit like that. I know out here in the IE, I don't see it. I haven't seen that in a long time. These kids are all different. They have they grew up in an era where snitching and all that shit and being a fucking big mouth and pulling up their phones and all that shit. They grew up in that era. You know what I mean? They're fake. They're fake all the way through and through. Um, so much has changed. You know what I mean? But I just didn't want to associate with them anymore. As far as I didn't want to be involved with them anymore because of the reputation that I felt that they had, not them. But when you are from a neighborhood and you got homeboys that's a rat, he's a rat, or he's has weird charges for sexual shit, and he still runs around in your neighborhood, he still claims your neighborhood. You still hang out with him, it affects your whole neighborhood. Even though these guys, because it's like you guys should have took care of that. I could have took care of it when I had the opportunity. I'm glad I didn't though that day because I'd probably be in fucking prison. Too many people were there. Like 10 guys were out there. I probably would have been in prison for fucking killing this guy right there in front of all these people. Somebody there was gonna snitch on me. Maybe a couple people would have snitched on me. You know what I mean? So I'm glad I didn't do that. I'm glad I felt, now I felt I did the right thing. Like, what, fuck it, I'm gone. I'm out of here. I'm glad I made the decision to get out of it completely. Does it mean though that I don't follow those same rules? Like I said before in other videos, I still follow those rules. You know, don't be a fucking rat. Don't be a cop caller. If something happens, go handle your shit by yourself. For the most part, the police don't want to help you. The justice system ain't gonna help you. You know, in my opinion, this is for me. I'm not telling everybody else to go do their own thing, do stupid shit. My opinion, if somebody does something to me that causes me to have to go out and do something to you, well then I'm willing. I mean, I'm willing to. And my wife sees these videos, but my wife knows the way that I feel also. And my wife, you guys all know through my videos that I love my wife. I love the life that I live. But there's no fucking doubt in my mind that if somebody does something to me, I'm willing to go out and do something to you. Even at my age, I'm willing to do something to you. I'm not going to call the cops. I'm going to go do something to you. And if I have to lose everything that I have and go sit in a fucking box, then that's just the way it has to be. Because that's the way that we were raised. If that's what you have to do, that's what you have to do. You got to deal with what you have to deal with. That's just the way that I feel. Um, I feel very, very strongly about that. Like I said, I'm not telling everybody else to go do that kind of shit. I'm just telling you how I feel. That I just can't do it. There's something inside of me that I cannot just. Sometimes I let things go, but if you do something to me, or you do something to my wife, yeah, yeah, I'm willing to give it all up because that's just the way it is. I have to follow those rules for the rest of my life. I have to. Um, so getting out of the whole gang thing, yeah, it can happen. Depends on who you are. Now, why they let me walk away, I don't know. It could be because they had respect for me. Obviously, I think that's what it was because a lot of them still will talk to me. You know what I mean? They're like, I understand why you did what you did. You know, I don't know of anybody that's talking major shit about me. Over that. From the neighborhood. These young fucking guys, they don't know me. So, and like I said, the people that were my age, they still talk to me. They'll still hit me up. Um, but can it be done? Yeah. Just depends on who you are and who you're dealing with. It was the best decision for me. Um, I'm just I don't know. I'm glad that I got through that shit. I'm not associated with any gangs. You know, do I what do how do I do I feel what like it's like what do I feel about gangs? Like I said earlier, the whole gang shit nowadays is just it's fucking whack now. You know what I mean? That um, I know it might sound kind of bad, but the way things are right now, when you see all these, you know, um, street vendors getting fucked up, um, old people getting fucking terrorized and shit by these young fuckers on the street. Um, all that shit where I seen a video of a motherfucker that just walks in. He's not a homeless. He's a younger guy, black dude. He'll be walking across the street and he'll jump on your fucking car and lay on it and stupid shit. You know, these kids are doing stupid shit. You know, um, I think that we kind of need the guys that we were back in the day now, because you know when we were out there in the street, we weren't doing dumb shit. You couldn't beat up on old people. You didn't fuck with innocent people. You know, we did protect our neighborhoods from people that were outsiders from our neighborhoods. Yeah, you know, and we did shit to each other as gang members and stuff like that. But we didn't fuck with innocent people. You know, we didn't fuck up our own neighborhoods as far as, you know, all these smash and grab shits, doing stupid shit like that. I mean, the most we were doing was fucking beer runs. We grab a case of beer and we run out the door. You know what I mean? We were in there fucking going in there 10 guys and smashing everything, and we didn't do shit like that. And like I said, you didn't fuck with old people. If you were caught doing shit like that, you're gonna get fucked up. Nowadays, it's not like that. These young kids, they think that this shit's cool, and destroying your own neighborhood, they think that shit's cool. And if there was guys like us around now, they take control of that shit. They take control of their neighborhoods, and they don't let shit like that happen. But see, there's nobody around like that no more. So these kids do the stupid shit they're doing. They talk the way they talk, and so I see it like we do need those guys around. But maybe one day that shit will, everything, you know, seems to, you know, come back around. And little by little, you know, you start to see on Instagram the Ben Davis and the Charlie Brown shirts and all that shit. You see that younger people wearing it. But again, that doesn't make them gangsters either, though. You know what I mean? The whole gang thing is, I kind of think it's kind of just fading away. You know what I mean? It doesn't seem to be catching any momentum. You know, there's for some reason this younger generation, um, like I said, they talk urban and shit. You know what I mean? And um, they act like they're black. They use that word, and it's changed so much. I don't think it'll ever go back to the way that it was. Um, but I don't know. You'll see in the future if it does or not. But anyways, that was the video. It's, you know, can you get out of it? Yeah, you can. Um, I still kept my, I guess I still kept my respect, because every people from the harbor, they still talk to me. Nobody's ever said nothing that, not to me. When they see me, it's always hugs and kisses. They ain't nobody ever shine me on, or like, hey, don't talk to him. Never, never. You know, I was always still welcome around. A lot of people that I know nowadays that didn't know me from back then, that some of them know, they still like give a fuck, because you know what, the whole thing is the gang shit. That's kid shit anyway. It doesn't matter when you're in youth authority. Gang shit didn't matter. You know, it mattered like what area you grew up at. You know, if you get busted and you go to prison, the gang thing, that shit really doesn't matter in there. They don't even want to deal with that shit. It has nothing to do with anything. Gang shit it was for is a kid thing. You know what I mean? It's not a good look when you're fucking 40, 50 years old still throwing gang signs and shit. You look like a fucking idiot. Uh, I don't know anybody that does that shit. I know a lot of dudes that are from different neighborhoods. They ain't fucking doing their neighborhoods up, but I see it on Instagram and Facebook. You know, I'm like, man, you're a fucking moron. You're like 50 years old and you're still talking this gang shit. You know what I mean? Fuck is wrong with you? So anyway, that's the video for today. Is it possible? Yeah, it's possible, depending on who you are, um, how it all turns out for you. So, anyways, thanks for watching the video. Like, share, and subscribe. And if you have any messages, anything to say, leave it in the comments or DM me on Instagram. Talk to you later.